there's two things. So one of which is, I've often found when I've done this before, 2 hours can be quite a lot to take in a lot of information. So what I normally quite like to do is do like an hour just of like the basic-y type bits that give you a sense of how to use WordPress, how to edit, how to change pages, and those sort of bits and pieces. And then 2 weeks time, 3 weeks time, you might have either some more questions once you've actually started using it, rather than me do a 2 hours of just talking to you. We just find that works slightly better when it comes to WordPress. But again, I know you've kind of blocked off this 2 hours time specifically. So we can take it from there, really. I mean, I can go through to 5 o'clock. If my voice holds up, it's another question. But
I think David and I have both used WordPress, probably David a lot more than me, but we're both quite familiar with WordPress. So it might work quite well to exactly what you've just said to David over the next couple of weeks, do you think? And then reconvene.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, absolutely happy to do that. So,
but having said using WordPress, of course, the theme you're using is different from the theme I'm used to, so it'll look different.
Yes, this is always the things with these bits and pieces. So that's no problem at all. So the first thing, let me just handle because you're interested in the hosting questions. So I can just very quickly spend 2 seconds on that.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, obviously it's a WordPress website. You can host it with anyone you want. No, we're not. In terms of the emails, our emails and other hosting are completely separate. We both use Rackspace, but the emails are the price they are. We don't make much money on them as it is at that price, let alone then to give the support and the service that we would feel we'd want to offer you. But of course, if you want to do emails with someone else, that's absolutely fine. It isn't. And yeah, but what I would just be slightly aware of is obviously, like, if you're having, it depends how IT literate your staff are and how much you want to help them yourselves or how much you need external help. That is really, really important, because we tend to be very hand-holding and other companies maybe less so. But if you've got that all in-house, then yes, it's a very easy way to save money, and we have nothing against people saving money. We don't.
I'm thinking, I sent a mail to Magda earlier today, which you may or may not have seen, saying that really moving the hosting at this stage is just too many things at once. And it makes sense to keep the hosting with you, and then just do the emails and the domain with, I mean, Cloud Next look like the most suitable company. They deal with over 300 council sites already, so they're very familiar with our particular demands. So that it does make sense.
Yeah, no, we have no problem with that whatsoever. We will leave you talking to them about that. That is absolutely fine. So we can do that. We can.
Would you think me very rude if I were to turn my camera off and have a little bit of lunch, because I'm really, really hungry? I'm feeling a little bit faint. I would normally not do it, but I had a lunchtime meeting. Is that okay?
That's absolutely fine. I'm definitely going to be drinking. Yeah, I personally don't mind. I understand.
Thank you.
These things.
I am paying attention, and I will.
One technical question about change of domain. We obviously need to keep some sort of redirect going from the existing URL to the new URL.
Yep.
Is it more convenient if Cloud Next take over the existing domain, so it's all in one place? Or
yeah, I mean, to be honest, it makes 0 difference. Yeah. But in terms of billing and things like that, if you're going to move everything over to them, you might as well move everything over to them now while you're in the process or in that mode. Otherwise, sometimes domain names can get forgotten about and things like that. And then what we find is because we tend not to deregister domain names without specifically being told to, because the amount they cost for the chaos it causes not to. So we've often occasionally found a domain name being on our system for like 3 years and no one's been paying for it. But yes, because because time flies and people mean to do something and it never quite happens. So yeah, we can quite happily we just need their details so we can transfer it over to them. So that's no problem. And then just everything is in one place, and we're and we prefer this. That way, if there's something goes wrong, there's one person to go to.
Nothing's set in stone at the moment. It's still, still got to make a few decisions and get agreements. But I mean, it looks as if we might be heading that way.
Yeah. I mean, and to be perfectly honest, if you wanted them to host the website from the start, there's no reasons why they shouldn't be able to do it. They should be able to take over. I mean, this will go about their support and how they do things. They should have a process of how to migrate a WordPress website from their system, from our system to their system.
Yeah.
Because this happens all the time. And it might be slightly complicated for them because I know normally how these things work is you normally have like a dedicated server. In inverted commas, it's not an actual dedicated server, it's a virtual server. But on that, we'll have all your DNS data, all your emails, and all the hosting and the website setups. So, yeah, so that's why. So basically, you'll find your emails will use up like space on your hosted server that has your WordPress and things like that, which again isn't a problem because it's not like you're not running massive websites. So
no,
it is one of these things.
No, okay, no, I say I'd rather just do it in stages if we do that. So I need to do a bit more thinking about it, but I think that's where we are.
Yeah, we're very flexible. We are very, very flexible when it comes to this.
Excellent, thank you. Yeah, good.
So that isn't a problem at all. Right, first of all, what we tend to do is not give people admin access to WordPress, because then we find sometimes they play and don't necessarily always know what they're doing. Obviously, if you want full access, we can obviously give you full access. That isn't a problem. But we normally just give you access to basically edit everything you need to edit. So to add pages, manage pages, add components. We don't generally let people install plugins because then we find things don't work. And then it's like, well, why did you install that plugin? And then it's awkward. But if you want that access, you can do. But be aware, our support doesn't go down. But if you've broken something because you've installed a different plugin or deleted something, then we will charge you for that. Whereas if you don't have admin access and the website breaks, we don't charge you because obviously it's something not in your control.
Okay, so admin access will cover plugins, but
we'll cover admin access. Will give you absolutely everything to change the layouts, to put in new themes, to add plugins, to do all that sort of stuff. And if you want that, absolutely fine, we don't mind. But obviously, if you're deleting plugins, adding plugins, changing the config files, things can break. And if you do break it, then we will have to spend time trying to work out what's broken and all those sort of bits and pieces.
I agree with that. And I think if it's working the way we want it to work, there's no need to add in plugins. And if we did,
exactly,
we would probably say to you, can you add this plugin for us?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. This is but we do get some counsellors and some clerks that want all that control. So I always just do that little bit of speech. You can have all the control you want, but if it goes wrong, don't come to us if you break it. Whereas like this, it's basically, it's not impossible to break, but it's a lot harder to break. So yeah, it is in terms of those sort of bits and pieces. So what I'll do is I'll just share my screen. And then you can see what I'm seeing, and you'll see like the dashboard as you would. Let's make sure I share the right one. Share. It's not too big, so hopefully you should be able to see that.
Yep.
Let's just move you here. So actually look like I'm looking at you and not to the side. So again, if you've used WordPress before, this is very obvious. You have your pages and I'm assuming this must look most like all the other themes. Yep. So you've got all your pages here, and you've got your posts here, which are all your news stories. We tend to call them news stories. So that's that. And obviously your media library with all your documents, files, pictures, etc., which you can then search. So that's a very basic thing. If we actually then go to the website, so there you go. You've got all the bits. We need to start out so it goes to the home page. So and then what you can see is you've got your website with all the different components on. You can then obviously click the edit component, and then you can then edit it, and you've got the different bits. So here you've got your carousel, which takes a second to load. Then you've got what traditionally are called components. And then what you can do is you can add blocks. So here is like kind of an outline of your page. Does this look vaguely familiar to how the other WordPress ones work?
Vaguely,
Vaguely. Yeah.
I'm not familiar with the. I mean, I can see what a container does, but I'm not familiar with the term in terms of the site I look at. I do.
Right, yeah. So basically what we always say is, but every time you add something, add it in a container, because then that'll give you a lot more flexibility later on when it comes to spacing, putting things in mobile devices or anything like that. So whenever you're adding a block, there's just a block at the bottom of the page. You can go add block, and then you can go container. And then what that does is gives you a container to start building what's in there. So from this container, you can change the layouts, and you've got sizing and padding. So if you want to give it more spacing, if you want to give it a certain colors or borders. So if you want to make like a block of text, like with, let's say, background color, you can then do that very easily within that container. You can. So basically, it gives you a lot more freedom. And from there, you can then add different blocks that you might want. You can. And what you can do is you can see, so you might want to, put it in a grid. So probably from the WordPress bits, you're used to like grid layouts. So how they flow. So what you can do is you can have different types of grids. So you can have like what we would class as 100% grid, a grid. Then you've got like 50-50, 2/3. You don't need me to go through all of them. But basically, it is a way of sectioning off text. So you could have, say, text in one half, picture in the other, if that makes sense. Or if you wanted 4 stories. So like what we've done here for the quick links, we've put a grid of 4 in. So you've got that grid of 4, and then you can just rebuild on top of that. You can.
And can you control the individual widths of the 4 components of this grid?
You can too. I mean, yes, if you want to, everything you can transfer, but these are kind of more like default ones. So yes, if you wanted like a third, 2/3, and no, that doesn't work. If you wanted a quarter, 2/4, third, or 2/5, 1, whatever you want to do, you can do. But this is just guiding principles. For example, you may want just 50-50. And then what it does is it then builds you 2 further bits. So you've got a container here. So you've got your container. Then you've got the grid. And then within each side of that grid, you've got another container. So all you do is you just keep building upon that. If you wanted, you could put a grid within a grid. You can do these things. And this is where you're saying if you wanted to change the sizing of them. So if you wanted to change the sizing, you've got the width here. So you've got the width in percentage. So you could put 40%, 60%. You could then change it to 75-25, whatever you want to do. That is totally up to you.
So when we go to the block above, where you've got text and also the news story, that's a sort of 3/4, 1/4 container, is it, or something like that?
Yes, it'll be probably 20. Oh, I can tell you actually. If we do container, so that's a grid, and the first container is 75%, and the next container is 25%.
Okay,
So you can just see that there, and obviously what that's doing is that is pulling in data. Sorry, that is pulling in data from your posts or the news articles. It is, and as soon as you add a new one there, it will automatically update it there. It will.
Yeah. I don't use post or my site. I just taught myself from scratch, and obviously missed out on containers and things. But I just use pages and nothing else. I don't use posts. But so the concept of the post is something I obviously need to know.
I mean, they have a very people use them in lots of different ways within WordPress. So you can have like custom posts. So we technically, the way on some of our websites, we do minutes agendas as meetings as posts, but we have lots of custom fields to make them fit that sort of thing. So it's a way you can get different information around the website without having to constantly change it. So rather than say on the homepage you had a list of your latest news stories, on the news page you had your latest news stories, and then say in the footer you had the latest story. If it wasn't in a post situation, or if it wasn't in a database, then what you'd have to do is every time you add a page, okay, technically you could probably automate it, but the idea would be it stops you constantly having to change things. So your list of posts there, if you make a new post, will change automatically. Your list on your news page will change automatically.
Yeah.
And if you had a list in the footer, it would change automatically without you having to do anything. So it's always the latest news there, and also makes the site look more dynamic because you're not constantly having to change things, and it makes your life easier because it's done automatically for you. And it also, most importantly, is it really does keep a consistent look. Because I think what makes websites really, really easy to use is if there's a consistent look and a consistent color theme. So if you see a color, it means that. So if you see that, so if you see something that it means a link, not that if there's 5 different colors on that page, or those sort of bits and pieces, or one page has like lots of pictures and it's all spread around and the other's just text. There needs to be consistency to the look and feel, and that's what we always.
The technical question about that news feed,
Yeah,
is it associated with an RSS feed or not? Can you?
I mean, it probably could be. It's not. Technically, it's all done within WordPress. You could probably export it as an RSS feed. There will definitely be a plugin to do this. To do that, to take blog posts to RSS feeds. Yes. So
I asked because if we decide to send out, let's say, newsletters via MailChimp, then MailChimp I know supports RSS feeds because I use it for something else.
Oh, perfect. I mean, MailChimp, you could probably link MailChimp to WordPress through a plugin. And then they'll take the latest stories from there, I would imagine. I don't know for a fact, but there will certainly be someone, if it's not already possible, certainly be someone that has done it and could do that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So so then it comes down to, so again, then you're building it out this 2 columns. Again, you click the ad, and you might want like a heading, and then you've got like the heading text, and again, so that's a heading. It is. And then what you can do is you've got then your text, which you can then type. So it's very like heading text, and you see heading, it automatically then realizes you want a paragraph underneath. So all of these, so this is how you kind of build out your page. And again, here, if you wanted to add an image, you can go for image. And then you can either upload a new image, or you can go to the media library and select one of the images that are there. And then go, and luckily, and what it does is if you've already filled in alternative text, it saves that alternative text. So you're not doing it every time. And again, it's got a title. And again, if you wanted to give it a caption or a description, it's all there. So you can do that. You can. And then what you've got is you've got your picture there. So if that's your 2 columns, it is. That's your 2, it is. So, and if you then, so here, if you wanted to move any of these things around, for example, you just wanted to move the container, stop double clicking. So say you wanted to move this container above the block, you literally click and drag it, and make sure, go away, bookmarks. So you click and drag. So
you've got to do it in that left bar. You can't do it on the page itself.
No, so you click and drag, and then what you do is you can put it wherever it is, wherever you want it. So you can then put it above the altar. Make sure that blue line is right against the side, otherwise it'll put it in another container. And then what you've seen is yours. What's it gone? I'm not quite sure what happened. There, it disappeared. Yeah, not quite sure what happened. There, yeah. Really not sure what happened. Must have clicked off it or dragged it. That's very odd. Weird. 2 grids. So yes, you've got your 2 grids there. And then you should just be able to, yeah. Then just click it. Yeah, and then you just click it and just escape. Sometimes right, yes. So when it's like that, you can now move it and make sure you move it exactly how it is, how you want it. You can. But yeah. I think it's a new version of Safari that gets very confused when actually trying to click and drag. Because what it's trying to do is because you're holding it. There you go. I think I'm like double clicking. That's better. Right. And Safari now, when you click on a link, it previews it. Yeah. It does. Yes, now you've got your grid there. So yeah. Safari stop being wrong. So what? Stop clicking. Click and hold. There we go. Yes, there you go. Right. I need to. But yeah, so you can move it around much more successfully. I'm generally sorry for that. Basically, just by dragging them up and down those lists. And then if you want, you can also insert before, after, and you can copy and lock it so you can't change it accidentally and duplicate it. So if you did want to, duplicate this one, you can go duplicate, and it makes 2 of them. It does. So if you design something nice, you just want to repeat it, you can just do that there. You can. And then you can just remove it as well. So you've got those there. So, right. So that's how to like kind of edit and change pages and bits and pieces like that. It is, but it is a very much a wig system. You point and click. So if you wanted to highlight a link.
Oh, it doesn't like the centralizing pen, that's it.
Right, yes. So then what you can do is you can then do links and click links to places. So you can either obviously click links to your files. Once you remember, it will search all your files. So depending which ones you want, or links to a page. Or if you just want a link to a website. It can just create a little link. And you'll see that all the styling is so that yellow actually is a new link. So all your people know that yellow is a new link. So it just keeps that consistency there. It does. And then you can obviously just unlink it by clicking the unlink.
Can I just wind you back a moment? I'm just at the moment experimenting on my own WordPress site, and I'm adding a page. And I can't see where I find out about containers. I can add a block.
Oh yes, it'll be a block. So if you go to, it will depend what you're using, because depending on what plugin you're using, it will depend how they define it. So what you normally get, so you can see, okay, so if we just go to add a new container, if we just go to add a new one, and see you've got here, well, you can go browse all, okay.
Well, no, when I click add, there's no, I don't see anything saying container. I see paragraph, image, separator, list, heading, more. Oh, it might be under more, I suppose.
More, yeah, there'll be loads, or you can search. Yeah, so you can. Yeah, so basically, if you go under blocks, you should see quite a lot of blocks there. It depends what plugins you've got with WordPress.
Yeah,
it does. So we've obviously selected a few that we find work really well and very easily. We do already. We do. Like, for example, you've got text, so you can insert bits of code for displaying code. And then you've got media, so you've got galleries, so you can put galleries in. You can add audio, images, and design, so you have like columns and buttons. So lots of different types of things you can add there.
Now, I can honestly say I do not have container on mine, which is why I'm not familiar with the concept.
No
Don't
problem.
even have it.
It might just put it in a block, so they might by default put it in.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at on the trouble like little arrows, you might find they automatically put things in a container, maybe, or they might have another way of defining background colors, because you must be able to add a background color to a block of text.
I've got something called
We do
cover.
it.
Don't know what cover means.
Cover is generally
No.
yes, that could be. It's like a hero block. They all have different names. What should generally be like possibly a big image, some text, some heading text, and some text underneath.
Yeah.
You'll normally see that in like headers of websites or something like that.
Okay.
You will, but there will normally be. This is why when you normally go the container, and we bring this back. This is normally where you can add like the borders and set the like the alignment with it, everything within that container. Otherwise, what you've got to do is you've got to apply it to every heading, every paragraph, every style. So, example, if we just go center here, it will center it to those. It will center the heading. It will. It will. And so.
Okay, so could you possibly take us through a new page and just putting some bog standard text on it and how that
of course.
works?
Yeah, no problem at all. Let's not save the changes here. So let's just go back to WordPress, leave page. We don't want to save those pages. Yeah. So right. So to add a new page, we can just go to new page. That then creates a new page. It does. And then here you can start basically like you can. So here you'll see you've got nothing on the outline. You've got nothing there, or in the view list, you've got nothing there because there's nothing there. So you can obviously add a title. So it could be new page. And then paragraphs that there. And then what you can do is you've also got them blocks. So you can then add a container. Maybe we wanted to do adding container doing a grid of 2/3, 1/3, or 75, 25. Here we could have a graphic block. So here we could add, say, an image if you wanted. Media library. Let's go for the village sign. And then we want to put an alt tag in there because we've not used it. So so it might be village sign. Do you mean
Babington Meadow would be the alt text for that.
what was that one?
Babington Meadow. Babington with B-A-B. B-A-B. I-N-G. Babington.
Babington. Stop
No,
trying. Babington
Meadow. You can, as on the sign.
yeah.
Meadow singular.
Oh, Meadow, perfect. And then you've got that, and then select, and then you've got a picture of the sign there.
And if you wanted to put that news feed into that block, that's a predetermined block from somewhere else, is it?
Yeah, it would be. Yeah. So what you could do is you could remove that image. Or so you could do plug features, plug comments. So then you could do yeah, so then it depends what you wanted to, what information you wanted to put there. It does. So you could do, yeah, so here you've got, so you could just have it. What you probably wouldn't do is you probably wouldn't put it in a small thing, but you could put it like that. Browse all. And then you've got posts.
But that news feed's presumably you've given it a name somewhere.
Yep. Yeah. So box. So what we can do is So you can do that. So you have like a post grid, which would have all these different bits. And then what you've got then is you've got all your news stories.
Okay.
So, but how do we set where those? I think what David means. Where do we set where those articles are being drawn from?
Oh, so they're being drawn from your news stories.
Yeah, no, but how, say we wanted to set something that drew, say, for example, we said, or some of our councillors were going to be at a meet and greet, for example, and we wanted to draw the information of those particular councillors, just in the same way as these are news articles drawn or something. Is there a way that we can set, what we want pulled through, or?
Yep, you can do so. One, you can link. So, for example, can we do it here? Yes. So here, it'll take it to the website. So you can either, rather than having the whole. So if you just wanted to link to a specific news post, because a specific one, you could just do Monmouthshire Bank Holiday Waste Collection, add that as a link on a page, and then link to the blog post.
Yeah, no, I think, yeah. Yeah, I understand how to do that. That's fine. Yeah.
So you could do it that way. What you can do is you can categorize the blog post into certain categories. So you could say have like front page news. You could have councillors news. You could have meetings news. You could have whatever categories you want. And then what you could do is you could set up. Sorry. Then what you can do is you can set up like news bits only to display that section, those collections.
Yeah, so I was just thinking,
that makes sense.
For example, we might want to have a section that's got most recent minutes. So it might have sort of the last 3 meetings worth of minutes. So rather than, is there a way, so rather than us having to update that each time, is there something that we could set up where it would pull through, just like the meeting dates? Because I don't know if we've got that here, but I can't remember if we had that on our last website. Where
so the very simple answer is yes, you could have had that, but instead you chose to have minutes in a different format to what we would normally do, because you were very, very, very keen to have it just as a formulated list and not in a database.
Okay.
I think, Catherine, I'm not so worried about that, because if you want the last 3 sets of minutes, you just go to that page there. What I think is useful is having a news item saying the minutes for July 2023 are now available, something like that.
Yeah, you could do new little news items like that.
Here we are. So that we're in posts, and these are all posts.
Yeah, these are posts or news items.
So if I create a new post there, how do I tell it that it's got to be part of the news items?
So, well, one, it will automatically become part of the news items.
It does, okay.
But what you've got here is you've got categories.
Right.
And what you could do is you could have you could have a new category called minutes, where here you just have short news posts, which are basically like new meeting, new minutes have come up. So at least that would separate it out then from your news articles, which are have more content and have more content, really.
Okay. So a new page, you just tick which categories you want it to be part of.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then so you can so you can create different categories there, and one news story doesn't have to be one news category. So it could be, you might have like a news category for front page, and then they would be displayed on the front page. You might have like general, well, then you might just have like all news on the news page. And then if you did want minutes and genders, or like councillors news, so if it's more relevant to councillors, that would you could then I haven't done this, but you can then use those categories. So when you're pulling things into MailChimp for newsletters, you could pull in certain categories of news, because what you're not going to want to do on your newsletter is pull the fact that there's another meeting, because you're going to have like X of those all the time. Whereas you might want something that's a little bit meaty, like the waste collection, which is in some ways more relevant to a news story. It is, if that makes sense.
Does the order in the oh no, sorry, forget that. When we look at the news headlines, there's 4 of them there, because there's only 4 stories anyway. Do you set the number of which you display somewhere?
Yep, so you can change the number that you want to display. You can. Yeah, so here you've got layout. No, where's let me select this actual one.
Already been chosen as a grid of 4, isn't it?
Yeah, so you can change like the little layouts there. You can, and then you can either do it like that, or active page elements. Query. So this is where you can query them.
Oh, number of items, so 6 at the moment.
Yeah, so you can have that, or you can then have like include categories, exclude categories, newest to oldest, by authors. So you can, yeah, so fairly easily you can add a post grid, and then you can do whatever you want. So you can either have like 2, 1, 4, 6, 12, or whatever.
Okay.
I'm sure if you put 0, it puts all of them in, I think.
You probably aren't, you are allowed 0. Yeah.
No, it doesn't. No, I was
No,
gonna
you're
say
not allowed 0.
some of them, if you put 0 in, it means that you can, yeah, it displays. Oh, but yeah, so you can select whatever number you want there.
Yeah. Okay.
And again, the sort of, yeah, display feature image. So if there's an image, you can get that displayed, and all the different bits you can possibly have with that, and like the titles and basically whatever you want to include. So you don't have to have the author's date. You don't have to have the date. You don't even have the excerpt if you don't want.
Right. Yeah.
And can we use presumably this layout? We can use this more than once. So, for example,
Oh yeah. So each of these are
this layout pulling in particular tick boxes and particular types of articles, and then we could have a separate header that pulled in, differentiated between other things. Perhaps if we wanted to separate out finance news articles as when they came, or Monmouthshire County Council articles versus our own news and things like that.
Yeah, so it does depend how much news you want. What is really useful is to have like a front page one. So if you are having them on, if you want them on your front page, then it's not always the latest ones, because sometimes you may not always want your latest one. Like if you're doing a village plan, you might always want the village plan to be there, but also then a couple of others. So because that's a village plan, or you might want, but it does give that way of formulating that for you and how you do it. It is, but there are plenty of options there of how you do that. There is, and again, the information you want and which ones you want. And the nice thing is, it is really easy. It's all like drop downs, so it is. So again, these are all just post images. These are literally just tick boxes. They are. So it's a nice, easy way of doing it, or depending on what you're looking for. It is.
All quite self-explanatory,
I mean, so basically, just to make a detailed overview, a page is obviously a summary of that whole page. So again, so that's got what it's got on there. If you want a featured image for this bit, any like attributes, and what is important if we publish the page. Publish. What you'll need to do is you'll need to add it to the menu, because at the moment it won't appear anywhere in the menu. So you've done all this work on this new page, but you'll go, why can't I see it on my website? You will, and one of that reasons is because it doesn't instantly put it in the website, or it doesn't put it in the menu structure of the website. So that was a new page. So we can we might want to rename it so it's not new page. So we might want to call it news stories test. And then the slug is basically, when you get like / whatever the page title is, that is what the slug is. And that needs to be different on each page. So we'll just have and normally it should be something, so we'll just have NST, because test news stories, and then update. And at this point you can change, and also if you want to password protect it, change the date, basically anything you want to do here you can very quickly change. So you've got news stories test, that will update it. If you want to put it in the in the menu system, you've got menus. which is aptly named menus. And then here you've got a list of all the websites, a list of all your pages that are in the websites. And you can very easily just move them up and down, pointing, clicking. Yeah, so you can move them wherever you want. You can, don't double click.
Can I go back to the pages for that new page?
This one here?
Yeah, new
Yep.
page we've got. And
Yep.
go to the quick edit.
Yep.
At the moment it says parent, main page, no parent. Can you not do it there?
I don't think it will appear. No, that kind of links it. So if you wanted
to be in the news,
yeah.
News
So if
parent.
you wanted to do cookie trails, so on some websites they have like home, council, news, sub news.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I'm quite sure it doesn't actually put it in the I'll update it. I'm sure.
Okay.
WordPress is changing all the time. Last time it didn't, so I'm always open to menus. Yeah, see news, it hasn't put it in there because what it does, that is more for like as I was saying, the cookie trails. So if you're like six deep into lots of different things, you can easily see what section you're in within what.
Okay.
But,
yeah. Okay. Well, that works differently from what I'm used to.
Yeah, so we've got that news test story, so we can do that, and we can go add to menu.
Right.
And then it adds to menu.
It was already at the bottom, yeah, there.
Yeah, and then you can literally drag it wherever you want to drag it. You can. And so if you want to make a main top one, you just do it there. If you want to move it, you can move it within a sub one. So you basically do just click and drag wherever you want it.
How far down can you drill with this?
Oh, God.
A child of a child of a child or not?
Yeah, so like the same, if we want, we can probably add the community add to menu. And then we can go there, we can go there, then we can go there, then we can go there. Yeah, it's never.
yeah.
I'm going to remember what this was otherwise. And then you can also drag lots of sub ones.
Yeah.
You can. Okay.
I'm not contemplating having so many pages that we do.
No, that's no problem. I'm like,
it's just academic question.
Yeah, no, of course. I'm just going to rebuild. And then again, if you want to remove, it doesn't remove the page. It just removes it off the menu.
Yeah.
So yes. And what you can also do, so you can also add blog posts to the menu system. So if you wanted to add a specific blog or a specific news story to a menu system, you can do that. So say you wanted to waste collection was suddenly a big issue and you wanted it like and next to the homepage, you could do that. You can, and also what you can do is you can obviously link to other websites and they'll go directly from, so say again, neighborhood plan is a good example. You may want like neighborhood plan to be next to the homepage, but maybe the neighborhood plan has a separate website. So you can literally just type in the website address. I won't go through it because
maybe we could put sort of county council's main website.
Yeah, so council, yeah, so maybe under council. So rather than having a page that goes, that would be a useful link. But yeah, if you had that in the thing, rather than having to go, county council, and then it's a page basically go to the county council.
Whilst I'm thinking about it, there was a time up until recently when I thought, gosh, this new site's a very slow loader. But I'm now testing it, looking at it now, and all the pages come up just as I expect. Has there something changed?
Well, one, obviously when it was on development, it's not on proper servers.
Right.
Because it's a subdomain. Two, we don't enable DNS cache. We don't allow caching. Because obviously if you're constantly changing it, if you swap the picture out, you don't want, because we had that once. And we couldn't work out why we're seeing it fine, but the other person wasn't.
Yeah.
And basically, because they were not in the country, they basically DNS caching, so we don't cache it either. So it's got to load all the stuff first time. Whereas then what it does is it then organizes the cache within itself in the browser and does all that magic behind the scene to make it as quick as possible.
Okay. And again, whilst I'm thinking, my other question is that about Google Analytics. We link with Google Analytics, GA4 that's now out.
Yeah, Yep, we've set that up on it. That's
But
not a
does
problem.
our current site link to Google Analytics? 'Cause
Um,
I don't know how to see the data.
It should do. You would have gotten emailed about moving over to GA4.
I've got those emails, but that's because I use Google Analytics for other sites.
Yeah, no. You would have got one
Yeah.
about us. You would have
Yeah,
got
we
one
had
from
an
us.
email. I think that was on the email where we found out about the WordPress, that you did WordPress sites. And then
Yes,
David
so
and I were
basically-
confused because we still
Ah.
didn't know anything about the Google Analytics, did we,
Right,
David?
that didn't come to me because that was before you knew about me.
Yeah. So basically, the very simple answer is yes. You probably have it on your old site, depending if you signed up to transfer all the data over, or not the data over, but transfer to move it all across. It was like £40.
When would they have done that? Would that have been at the time when they set up the website, the old website?
Yes. So we can double check that. To be off the top of my head, I'm sure you probably do have it. I would need to just double check what's going on there. But
Right.
we can certainly add it, obviously, within. If you want to use your own GA4 code, or if you've already got accounts, it saves us doing it, and then you can manage it yourself. We're we're not precious about these things at all.
I haven't come to terms with GA4 yet. I'm still trying to look at the old classic view and so on. But
Yeah, because they'll stop all that data will stop going across. So you need to transfer it across from one to the other and set up the new site with Google tags and stuff like that. It's not overly complicated, but it does take time. That's why we unfortunately had to charge our clients for doing it.
right, so you don't just put some code in one place on the site and it does everything.
Yeah, but you've then also got to set up, for most of our clients, we have reporting. So we then got to set up the reports and stuff like that. I mean, it's not a lot of work, but it's a good half an hour to an hour in total. It is.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah.
Just finally on this topic, with our existing site, it'd be great if you could send me the information about how to actually access the hit stats.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, no problem at all.
Yeah.
Normally, I can double check what's going on there. I can.
I think I'd to find that, but yeah, that'd be good.
I was going to say, yeah, you might get a monthly report depending on what stage of what we set up for you and bits.
Because we have no idea how many people look at the current site at all, which is not very good.
Yeah. So in terms of the pages, it is slightly confusing that when you create a new page, it doesn't automatically add it to the menu, but also that does make sense because a lot of pages, especially if you're managing huge websites, you don't always want them to randomly appear in inverted commas on a menu. It does. And it also does enable you to do like draft pages and preview pages before you publish them and show them around to people. That makes sure
Still
people
got news stories test on the main site, by the way.
Yeah, I haven't saved the changes yet.
Right.
It's a bit like we've got the menu items as well, so we can get rid of because we're just still playing. Yeah, and also it's not live, so you do have to save the changes after you've made them. You do. So yes, I can just save. I won't say.
Sorry, I forget. Were we restricted in how many pages that we have on our website?
No. You can have as many as you like. You can what we do when we're building the website, because we always think it's easier to add the content ourselves, because a lot of clerks or counsellors they have dreams of doing the content themselves, but find the website never gets finished, or they may not keep it. I think once you've got a website that's built and there's a certain standard to it and a certain look to it, it's easier to keep it than to try and invent a standard yourself, especially if it's not your area of expertise. So that's why in the vast majority of cases, we tend to add all the initial content, or at least a good chunk of it. And then if the council wants to add stuff after that, they're more than happy to, because that's literally what the website's there for. Or if it's some stuff that's out of date, they're not sure if they want to move it across. We normally do like the stuff they want, and then they can pick and choose what they want after that. Because we normally, like keep the old site up for X period of time, just so they've got it if they need it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So basically I won't save the changes because we've not made any changes to the menu, but that is how you do it. So you can just literally drag them on, move them around, and that works perfectly nicely. Just to show, we'll put community under news just so you can show it works. Or news under community, or across into community.
yes, menu has been updated. So hopefully if you
Yep.
refresh it, you
Yes,
should
I-
now be right on platform. Yeah, I'm saying it's always nice when you see these things work.
Oh, hang on, you also got our community. Sorry, you've got a new our community on the top level.
Oh, was
Our community with useful links, and then our community. further
oh,
down.
sorry, this is why I shouldn't have saved the changes. There was useful links, sorry. Useful links should just be above our community, shouldn't it? Probably more.
Well, we've got our community again further down. I think that's what David's saying. After TBD2, we've got another.
Yeah, we'll just use that one. We can
Yeah.
just use that one. There you go.
There we go.
Oh, perfect. Right. There we go. Right. Excellent. Right, save menu. Right. I'll stop destroying Paul's work. Paul normally does all the work on this.
Yep,
I
good.
normally get this bit.
We're back to where we were now. Excellent.
Yay, perfect. Right. I managed to not break his website so far. I have also installed your plugin that you wanted.
Oh, good. The search WP.
Yeah, no, that seems fine. At the moment, it's just going around doing, it's like collecting all the data.
It's indexing. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so
So I can't test it out just yet.
no, because it literally is just searching all the data.
Yeah.
It is. So yes, but no, that was easy enough to install. So
It's one of the weaknesses of most content management systems. They don't index and search PDFs,
yeah,
which is an
Yeah.
obvious thing to need to do.
yeah, yes, yeah. I mean, certainly in certain degrees, certainly in certain in certain folders. I can understand why not all PDFs, but
You don't sound well at all.
I really am dying. Well, not dying. That's taking it way too far. But yeah, I am genuinely ill, but it's okay. I don't mind. It's fine. I have been iller and still done more work. So this is fine. Yeah. So, I mean, in terms of what I can just do, I can show you like editing the councillors page.
That's the container with 3 columns in it.
Yeah. So you can see what we've done here is you've got containers and yes, you've got the grid.
Yeah.
And then you've got the container 1, container 2, 3, and those sort of bits and pieces. And what you can, a really good hint. So say you had a new count. Well, one, you can obviously just edit them. Of course you can. But say you didn't want them all to be vacant and you just wanted to duplicate one. You can literally just go duplicate and it'll create a new one. So it's not like you've got to try and do all the spacing, all those sort of bits and pieces you want. You can. So yeah, but that is literally just the grid, and then going across, and then it just keeps adding them. Yeah, because what it will do is also
Yeah, it's pretty. It looks much better, that page. I do like the councillor page very much.
Yeah, so those are sort of just really useful things to bear in mind. There are.
And with a wide enough screen, they all line up as well.
Yeah, I mean that's always the problem when you want things certain ways. That there is only so much you can do with certain bits.
Yeah.
There is.
Oh, is this the map that you page on, David?
Yeah. I mean, when MCC actually update their own live map, and we can put it back there because you managed to embed it for us, which is fine. But then we discovered that the map that they've got was incorrect. So that's the correct one.
Oh, gosh.
We might decide to keep it like that. I don't know. And give a link to the live site as an alternative.
Yeah, you can always and then you've got both of them. Because we actually managed to. Yeah, because it was an iframe, wasn't it? They had sent us or sent you. Yeah. So no, managed to sort that out in the end. But yeah, that's just static picture. It is. But we can have that. Then we can always have the live map underneath. But yeah, you wouldn't have those sort of things. So it is. Yeah. So I mean, the thing with WordPress is I could go through every single different block and how they work and those sort of bits and pieces and those sort of bits. This is why. So it really does depend what else you want to know.
I think most of it though, it's trial and error though. Then, it's about what you want to do and about playing about with the styles as and when you decide what you're putting on, really, isn't it?
Yeah, no, 100% is, and it is about playing, and it is about, and yeah, there are some quirky type bits like adding a page and having to add it to the menu and bits and pieces like that.
So have you got any documentation for this?
Well, we've not done any personal documentation ourselves because there's all open sourced. So
yeah,
it's not...
I know, but I mean, the open source refers to lots and lots of different themes, and so getting
It
something
does.
which
So
is for this theme, and also the specifics of this particular site or the subtype.
Yeah, so I mean,
sites.
so the
It's like a training manual for clerks and
yeah. So
Yeah.
to be perfectly honest, because it is so vast, no, we haven't, or certainly not at this stage. We haven't. What we have used is very well known, very popular, the plugins that we use. So if you wanted to learn more, rather than us go, because there is so many different options, we could put the main few, but there are so many good YouTube videos already which use the latest ones. And plus, because WordPress and plugins are changing all the time, it'd be very hard for us to do a new video every single time something comes out. What we will do, we haven't at the moment, we're just developing a new help and support website with HubSpot. And what we'll do on there is we can link to particularly good, because it's pointless replicating the wheel, and there are some very good YouTube videos or very good referencing guides out there.
Could you show us what the plugins are that you've got and give us a quick rundown of the
yeah, of course. I'll log into my account and then you'll see all the chaos that is my account on your website. Let me log out first. That would help. Let me log in.
Oh, I see you now. You're now in as admin, so you can see. Right, we get a lot more information. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically,
WP. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the WordPress carousel we use. Generated blocks is the one we use an awful lot, and ultimate blocks are the ones we use for building the website.
Yeah.
Duplicator Pro is purely about us backing up and duplicating websites. Which again, so the ones you really need to, if you want to learn the bits, it's definitely like kind of generator blocks.
Yeah.
And again, the theme we use is Generator Press, but we've done a custom version. Well, we haven't done a custom version. We've just created,
okay, you've got your own version.
We've got a child version. So what happens is when Generator Press brings out new things, it doesn't wipe all our custom CSS, which it does if you don't have a child theme.
The one I use is on screen there. It's 2022 is the one I use.
Oh yeah, very popular. Yeah. Yeah, so there are loads. Yeah, there are loads. We like Generator Press. We like the way it's easy to work. It's easy, it's accessible. We also like the way it works. Generator blocks, obviously, they work harmlessly together, and it just works. It does. I mean, is it perfect? Nothing's ever perfect. You saw the issues I was having with my mouse and the new version Safari, but that's just me. Yes, new version Safari, and double pressing and not just holding. So that's all that is. But yeah, no, it works really well. So in terms of generator blocks is a big one. Ultimate blocks we use, and I mean WP mail SMTP, but that's all behind the scenes. So you receive emails from the website. It is.
Yeah.
So they're the main plugins we use. Obviously, yeah, they work. They're nice. They're clean. They don't slow down the website down too much.
Now, Generate Press has certainly got a very good press, as it were. I mean, if you look online, it's reckoned to be pretty good.
Yeah, no. So I mean, there are like loads. And then here's your little search algorithm. Wait, do we have does it tell you how many documents it's searched yet? What is it? It says somewhere. I've seen it somewhere. Oh yeah, last activities. 174 files indexed.
That's 174 files, is it?
75 items. So not files, pages, basically 74 items in inverted commas.
Right.
It will be. What we do is we'll obviously sort out getting that working for you. We will. We'll actually put it on the website now. It's actually finished the status, the indexing. I literally did this Monday. So
okay, it does. I'm just doing a search for something I know is in the minutes. and it's produced something. It's just the results just say minutes agenda, minutes agenda, minutes agenda. So it doesn't give you any more information about it.
No, you'll be able to change that. So I imagine what it'll be is it'll be Word documents.
No, PDFs.
The PDFs, yeah. We will be able to play with that.
Yeah, when you click on them, you get the PDF coming up on screen.
Yeah.
But it doesn't give you
more
the
information
Google potted highlights, as it were.
Yeah, you'll probably be able to play with that. I think I literally installed it Monday.
Yeah.
So I had a look at, but you should be able to get it to read more of the standard information. Also, it will depend what the file name is. It'll also depend what the file name is. So if it depends what the file name is and what the title of the file is, because it will take the information from the title of the file. So if in file title you have called it minutes, it will take that title.
It's always got the date on it as well. It'll have the date with with something like an underscore.
Yeah, but I did a search on something which I knew was in the text of some minutes, and it picked it up. But
yeah. So basically, again, I literally installed it Friday.
Yeah, fair enough.
So on that,
basically, it's done the indexing because it wouldn't have picked up these 6 hits otherwise.
Yeah, we'll go back. Yeah, you probably got it. I was having a very quick look. Where is it? Search WP. You can display. Where is it? Algorithms. Is it here? You get to display. No, that's how it focuses. Settings. It's probably going to be here. No, that's license information. Oh no, that's not that. But yeah, somewhere it will be algorithms. Because here it add remove attributes. So you can custom fields. So you can so PDF metadata. So I'll take it from document contents, title, and contributions.
There's a lot of variables there.
Yeah, well, yeah, because it'll enable you. It is just what's displayed.
Yeah. Okay, I mean that's fine. It'll we could have a play with that at some point. But no, I would need admin access to be able to change that by the sound of it.
No, if you
or can we access?
I should be able to give you access to that anyway, because that's just giving you access to that specific bit. So that that should be okay. Yeah.
Are you going to get a massive number of hits?
Yeah, if you search for
you just search for it. Yeah, no, I was just wondering.
For Babington or something like that. Perhaps.
Well, yes, try putting
That's showing the minutes bits. Yeah, because I think you'll find the file is called minute. Yeah, we can look at that. Yeah. There will be a page for that, and you should be able to just select what you want. What you want displayed. It'll be somewhere.
Definitely, if David and I have access to that, we're happy to have a play around as well and have a look.
Pardon?
But what in the well, we're coming to the end, just over the end of your first hour. So what is going to happen between now and the next session?
Well, won't it be good to have the website live? So why? Because now you're in a place where you can edit and change it. So you need to decide what's happening with the domain names and how that's going to work.
Yeah.
So once you've decided that, we can say it's basically ready to go live whenever you want. It is. Yeah,
I understand that. But I mean, from my point of view, I'm going away for 2 weeks out of the next 3, so I won't have quite so much time. But
I'm away next week as well.
Yeah. So
I'm away for a reasonable length of time, but I'm working while I'm away.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, how about then if David and I have got access to this now. So there are things certainly I can do in updating things physically straight into this now. So I know like David wants me to get him some news stories and things. So it seems a lot easier if I just do them directly onto here. I've got some bits. I can have a chat with David about anything else to go on, and we can try and get
have we got access to it now, or are you going to wait until?
Yeah, I've sent you your username and password.
Oh, you have? Okay, I
It's in the
haven't seen
chat.
that.
It's in the chat.
Right.
Take it off the chat. If not, I can obviously email it to you.
Yeah. Do you, some hosts I know provide access to a sort of parallel site, where you can play around, you can break, you can do everything like that?
No, because we don't do staging sites. Our website.
That's what it's called. What it's called. Yeah, staging. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, to be honest, our sites aren't that big. Our clients, you can still add pages. You can play around pages and save.
Yeah, don't make them live.
Well, that's where to experiment. Add a new page.
No, I mean, but yeah, the cost of setting up it'd be overkill for a project of this size. It's more for the fact if you're doing like computer programming, editing code where things can go wrong and break.
Yeah, no, not doing that. No.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. That's great. Catherine, do you want to say anything else at this stage?
No, so I think, that's great. I feel happy with that. Very happy. Really like the look of the site, and it's definitely easy to use. It gives us a lot more flexibility as well.
Oh, no, it does. No,
Sorry?
No, it certainly would do. 100%.
Yeah, and I just think the whole interface makes it more friendly for people to come onto the site and see. So, and I think it's just for us now to build in things like we've talked about, links with things like Pelham Hall. We can put those kind of links onto the website perhaps before we set this live. Now, if I can just spend some time doing that.
Update the photographs and the carousel, that sort of stuff.
Yes, I was going to say Landogo was still on there, wasn't it?
Just to confirm, I am definitely not able to do training the 14th to 18th of August.
After that suits me.
So after that, I'm a lot more like, I'm a lot more like, around. I can work at that point. From the 23rd would be perfect.
Perhaps we can sort that out. So I'm not entirely sure about where I am in August every day at the minute.
I think that August is so thing. So, but apart from that, I can be around, but I'm technically not really.
Okay. I've got. I'll be working. Do some work on this either Thursday or Friday. David and I can play about with this and then show the counsellors and go from there. And obviously, we might have an answer about our domain name decision on that by then as well, and we can
I hope we get something a bit quicker than that. Anyway, is it, Daniel, is it possible to let Catherine and I stay on the line for a little bit for a separate discussion whilst we're here?
Yes. I can make you host, and then will one of you two then take over control, because otherwise I'll be hearing what you're saying, which may or may not be I don't mind just well,
otherwise, David, or do you want me to open up our council Zoom? I can do that.
Oh yeah, do that. That might be simpler.
Yeah, no, I'm very flexible.
I sprung this on you. Is that okay? Because that's, since we're both here together, there are a number of things I'd like to chat about.
Yeah, sure.
I say, I can make you an admin, and then I'm assuming one of you two just take it over.